Hello, everyone. So this is my second video in English. It's probably going to be the last one. And in my last one, I spoke about this collapse that is happening right now as a historic event in which everything comes together, every crisis, every war, every seemingly separate situation around the world, seemingly unrelated situation around the world, but it comes together into a whole narrative that makes sense. And if you've been following the news lately, you've seen that there's at least one group of people that are bound by one individual and one circumstance. And this is Jeffrey Epstein. Of course, I'm talking about the Epstein files that are now public. You can check on them if you want. They're on the internet. They're free access. Everything's out there. Okay. Now, it's so much information that you either work and make a living or see these files and make sense of them. Of course, you won't do that. But there's folks out there who are doing this, and patterns are starting to emerge out of the chaos. See, I've always thought that chaos engenders order, and then by virtue of entropy, order tends towards disorder or chaos. So the Epstein files, are chaotic at this point, but certain patterns are starting to come up. And what we're seeing in those patterns is the same folks, people in power, either used to be in power or are still in power, mainly in the West. So you can't help thinking that if these folks are all bound, are all united by this particular individual in this particular set of vices, which are horrible, by the way, you can't help thinking that everything else follows that same pattern, that same group of folks. And this is what the West is made of. Essentially, a bunch of pedophiles. I mean, I never thought I'd say this, but a bunch of pedophiles, a bunch of psychopaths are ruling the West. They've been doing this for a while, for years, for generations, in fact. Only now is it coming out what the West is all about. So no wonder it's collapsing. No wonder we have all of these crises. No wonder it's all a big mess. And if you remember my last video, I told you, well, it will not be a sudden collapse back then. Back then, it was crumbling. Remember, I said that? It's going to be crumbling for a while, and then something will happen. It will bring it all down. Well, it's happened, and it's the Epstein files. So now everything's collapsing in one big blow, everything falling down because no one believes anything anymore. And it's not like it's going to collapse into chaos again. We already have that. It's going to collapse into tyranny. It's going to collapse into some other set of folks who are going to take power in the West. And I'm thinking the right. Not the right that you know, not the right that are speaking out right now, because they're all in on this mess. No, I'm talking about a different right. I'm talking about a right that's been in the undercurrents of history. Folks who have some power, not all the power, but some power, some system, some method, they're going to come together and take power all over the world as a new system. And it may be aided by the Russians and the Chinese. It's not conspiracy theory, it's just the moral high ground that these folks hold right now and the power that the different agents that they have. And I'm not talking about spies, I'm talking about actual representatives of this idea. Russia, China. I don't know what to call it. It doesn't have a name, but it's them. Okay? And the moral high ground that they hold right now, because it's not a secret that either Putin or the Chinese premier are on the Epstein files. They're not on there. And so are a bunch of folks from China, from Russia, from Eastern Europe. They're not in there. There's a reason for that. They're enemies of the West, but they're seen as enemies. And they're asking all of us to see them as enemies. Are they really? I mean, what do they want? Who out there drives a Chinese car? Who out there drives right now a Chinese car? I want to tell you that you have more to do with China right now than with your own country or the United States. You have more of a relationship with China right now just by driving that car than you do by living in your own country. You're not identified with your country because you have an ethics that your country does not have. You have an ethics, you have an ethical structure that your government does not have. So you cannot identify yourself with that. You can't call that your motherland or your patria. It's all bullshit. Okay? Right now, you have more to do with China than with Mexico or the United States or Canada for that matter. So think about that. Who are the bad guys? And what's this patria bullshit all about, really? Sorry for being so radical, but it's a radical time. Okay? So, that's what I wanted to talk about in this video, where the collapse, that sudden fall is happening. Think about it. And I'll see you here very soon. And I'm not afraid to say if they let me. Okay? So, have a great time. Think on what I've just said, and we'll be talking. Give me your comments. I really want to know what you think. Put him on down here and we'll chat. Okay? Okay. See you later. Have a good one. Bye-bye.